I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello, welcome to The Outsiders, post-Christmas edition, pre-New Year's edition, and we're going to do some deep diving today. My co-host, superstar Doc Cheatham, is with us all. Doc, say hello to the people.
Hello to everybody. Happy Kwanzaa, and I guess this is Ujima Day, so we like to celebrate that, but God bless everybody that we're still here.
God bless everyone. Yes, God bless everyone who's still here. The New Year's getting ready to come in. Christmas was, I had quite an exceptional Christmas. I did well. As a matter of fact, I got my gold timepiece, Invicta. I guess it's a commercial for Invicta. I got my gold timepiece everyone can see on YouTube that my wife hooked me up. So, I mean, she treated her husband very well, and I treated her very, very well. Both of us treated each other very well. My mom as well treated her well, and it was a very, very Merry Christmas, and hoping for excellent New Year. Doc, what are your plans for the New Year?
To do almost what I did for Christmas Day. Enjoying myself watching football all morning, noon, and night.
Yes, it was something else. The football, the Ravens stomped a Texas-sized mud hole and walked that sum dry against the 49ers. Wow. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And our special guest today, she's running for mayor, and I believe she was the first, or I believe Wendell Freeman and Wendy Bozel. Wendy Bozel is running for mayor. She's going to be our special guest. But I believe she and Wendell Freeman, who's also running for mayor, they were the first two people to file. Wow.
That's right.
Yes, they were. I mean, you can go check it out on the Board of Elections, but they were the first two to file. Wendy Bozel will be our special guest today on The Outsiders. And what happened that night? What happened in San Francisco? See, the Ravens, what the Ravens did is they took a jet, flew out to San Francisco, went to the stadium, busted the door down, told the 49ers in San Francisco, "We own you," proceeded to whoop some hind ponds, stomp a Texas-sized mud hole, just stomp the Texas-sized mud hole in the 49ers, and then walk it dry, and then got on a jet after they beat up on the 49ers, and now they're going to deal with the Miami Dolphins. How do you think we're going to fare against the Dolphins?
Same prediction I gave last week. I feel bearing any injuries, we go all the way. And I think something else may happen, and I think our tight end is going to come back.
You think Mark Andrews?
I think if he's able to come back, we can use him as a ploy, and because the defensive backs are going to watch him because he gets the ball so often. I think if he comes back and we don't have any major injuries, I think we definitely win, because I think our wide receivers, I think our core is better than any core in football, and I think I'm the first to say it. I think if we take our receivers, both tight ends and wide receivers,
and wide outs.
I think we may have the best group.
We're definitely in the top three. We're top tier for sure. Especially once we get back Mark Andrews from his injury as well. Isaiah Likely's playing well. The big thing I had with Likely, and I kept seeing it, and I kept saying it over and over again. Went to a friend's house, buddy of mine, went to his house, Tony's house. My friends were there. My wife hung out that Christmas evening to watch the Ravens. And Isaiah Likely, somebody needs to teach this young man how to block, because his blocking, or lack thereof, was so glaring and embarrassing. Harbaugh, your offensive coordinator, Todd Munkett, teach Isaiah Likely how to block. That's my advice, because it was horrible. It was embarrassing. I know they watched the film. After the game, they watched the film. You got to watch him just not block. Okay, so that's something they need to take care of. But other than that, they're pretty strong. Lamar was a little shaky in the beginning, but he didn't throw an interception. Thank goodness. That's what you do. Just don't throw stupid passes and throw interceptions, and you'll win. You'll win. Doc, any comment? Mighty quiet.
I think he is not necessarily the person that's going to get the MVP. I think if he has one more good game, I think the person that he's going up against is who we played last week. I think the running back that San Francisco has probably has the I think the person most likely, other than the wide receiver from Miami, but I think just catching the ball doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't show your valuableness of your team, because all you do is catch the ball. Now, this running back from San Francisco, this guy is always determined. He never stops. I like him a lot, but I like our quarterback even better, because there's a difference in what we saw last game and the rest of the year. I think our running back from San Francisco had to sit down and watch our quarterback, because I think our quarterback really showed that he has to be in that discussion of the top NFL player for this year.
Well, I think that game put him over top of Brock Purdy. Purdy got beat up so bad through 4 interceptions. He looked like a rookie QB. Knocked him out of the game with he had to get the concussion protocol. So they beat up on Purdy, picked him off, and Christian McCaffrey, he had a couple of good runs. He had that touchdown, but he was not nearly enough. Lamar stood out. He's the top. He's in the lead as far as the MVP is concerned with that game. And we'll see how they do with Miami. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to deep dive. Now, what happened last week is there was a town hall, the Sheila Dixon Town Hall. That's what it was. It was a Sheila Dixon promotion. Candidate campaign town hall promotion of one candidate.
The Mumbles Town Hall meeting?
Yeah, well, she was talking about that.
The Mumbles? Golly, gee, I thought that was one of the most unprofessional presentations I think I've ever seen on TV.
Well,
there was no reason why there was any emergency that she needed to have that kind of voice on TV. I think it just should have been rescheduled and brought her back. I thought that was very, very unprofessional.
Well, at the time, I couldn't understand either, Doc. We're sitting there, and she goes to start talking my voice. And we're kind of looking at each other like, what in the world is this? This is a cluster F going on right now. I said it. And I couldn't figure out, and you couldn't either. Why are they doing this? And then later on that evening, I received an email from the Baltimore Banner with the debacle and the embarrassment of an interview that had taken place that morning with who else? Her promotion agency, Fox 45, her promotion agency. And Patrice Sanders did an interview, and I did a spoof. You can check it out on YouTube. I did a spoof video of that interview, and clothes were flying. She was being interrupted. There was an inaudible voice, male voice in the background. I don't know if the guy was off his meds, or I don't know what, if he was having an epileptic fit or some other reason, some other medical reason, or whatever, why the guy was acting up like that during an interview. And the embarrassment, and her voice was gone at that time as well. And that embarrassment of an interview, Doc, what I think is they figured, you know what, we need to do something. Let's go ahead and have this town hall, because we don't want the news cycle to be focused on this horrific interview where Sheila's at her home and she's being accosted by clothes being thrown at her. It was ridiculous. It was embarrassing, and that's what I think. I think it was just a way to deflect and take the news cycle and put it on the town hall. That's my opinion.
Did you get the impression also that the questions were they already knew what questions they were going to have? It seems like they weren't really talking off the cuff. It was like everything was actually planned. I think the questions and maybe even the answers, but what they did not prepare for was a whole lot of black folks coming that basically wanted to say and do what they wanted to say and do.
Well, yes, the questions took place, and there were several questions that they did not expect. So what I'm going to do is we're going to deep dive this. We're going to take our time. It's not going to be 5 or 10 minutes, a quick little quip, and then we move on. No. I'm going to deep dive this because what I heard was troubling. When I went back and listened, because like we said, her promotion agency, a publicity agency, Fox 45, Sheila Dixon's promotion and publicity agency. They that's who they are. So they.
You come on some great labels. I like that.
Yeah, her public relations promotion agency. They saw, of course, what happened with the town hall, and took out a whole bunch of a great amount of it. They even stopped Shorty Davis in the middle when he said the word corruption. They stopped it, and we got on them. And I guess the outsiders and the folks got upset. They got too much heat, and they decided to play the entirety. So I'm going to go ahead, and I understand why they cut it, because of the embarrassment. And I have to give a shout out to Alvin Gwynn Jr., the pastor of Leadenhall. Alvin Gwynn Jr. and I grew up. I know his family, his dad. We're friends. And what they did is that gave that church a bad look. Alvin Gwynn Jr. was not he wanted the whole thing so that everyone could see what's going on, so the citizens can be, of course, informed. So maybe I didn't talk to him, but knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he called Fox up, said, "Hey, you're making me, look like I'm in on this." But let me go ahead and play this.
I got 30 seconds to ask my question. My question is, why should we trust you as mayor after you was convicted or pleaded guilty to a crime? You know what I'm saying? There ain't no getting out of here. You know what I'm saying? Plus, ain't you the mayor?
Now, when Shorty Davis said that, there were people there who wanted him to be quiet. They wanted him to be quiet. Doc, remember Shorty brought that up about Sheila Dixon's past and her criminal activity. Why would they want him to be quiet? He didn't say anything that wasn't true. He was saying the truth.
They thought that the entire event that they had planned, everything was going to go according to the way they wanted. But when you have a town hall meeting, the meeting is for the town. And the town's supposed to ask the questions,
exactly,
and bring up the issues. And, they even started the program out. It wasn't a program town hall. It was basically already monitored questions and answers. So, they got what they should have gotten. They got a slap upside the head. And hopefully they will learn something from that. And I really think this month coming up, that if in the first 2 weeks there is another town hall meeting, and if a large number of the candidates that are running for mayor are not invited, then I think there needs to be some action taken by the citizens of Baltimore. We can't have any TV station, I don't care what it is, but we can't have any TV station dictating to us who we hear from. We should hear from everybody.
And who we vote for. So let me go ahead and continue.
Close the rec centers, to cut the juveniles out? No. I've been knowing you since 1997. No, let me ask my question. Ask. All right? No. I'm an activist in Baltimore. I'm a member of Out for Justice in Baltimore. That's an ex-felon organization. We're not gonna lock up our kids. Y'all going after these juveniles like y'all went after them squeegee kids in Maryland Mosby. That ain't gonna happen. When you go to Annapolis, y'all gotta answer to the voters. It ain't just y'all. And Fox 45 ain't gonna be the voice of the community. Because we got other people in this community with voices. You can put me out, you can shut me down. No, you know where I am. I'm gonna be here all the time. My question is, what y'all gonna do about holding the politicians accountable for corruption? The same way that you hold these juveniles accountable. What y'all gonna do about corruption?
Thank you, Shorty. Ms. Dixon, why don't you...
Yeah. He made a very good point. The politicians
but he made
are
so
corrupt.
many points. I think these people that are coming to these town hall meetings asking questions, that many of them ask excellent questions. But this isn't a damn opportunity for you to give a damn speech. All of these damn folks are coming up. They got 2 or 3 questions. Ask one damn question and sit down. Give some others of us an opportunity to ask questions. Almost, I would say 80-85% of the people asking questions were asking numerous questions and taking too long to ask the question.
I believe, Doc, I agree. When you get up there to ask a question, my question is coming up, I ask too. That's how you do it. You get up there, you ask the question. If there's a few little comments you want to make, I don't have a problem with that. It's just that you don't want to be, you don't want to be filibustering. So let's continue.
What's that first?
It's about being transparent. It's about being open. It's about realizing mistakes that you made.
Okay, for those who can't understand what she's saying, Froggy from the Little Rascals, she's talking about being transparent. First of all, when she said that and she spoke about accountability, Sheila Dixon, it's such a crock and a joke to have this woman talking like her stuff doesn't stink, and it really stinks, real bad. Accountability, transparency, yeah, 12 indictments. The FBI had to raid your house. FYI, y'all, I knew that was coming. I'm not going to tell you how, but I knew months earlier what was coming because I had inside information from the most inside person in Sheila's life. Wink, wink. I'll leave it at that. So I already knew it was coming, and I knew why it was coming. Oops, more information? See, we're the outsiders. Don't get it twisted. Just because the name is the outsiders. We get the inside information. So, full disclosure, I knew that was coming. I told a few friends of mine, watch what would you see happen in the next several months. And they looked at me and said, Sean, how did you know that? I mean, how did I know that? You know how I roll. Anyway, I want to go on because you got to hear, because what's coming up with Eric Costello and some other questions that were asked, wait till you hear this.
And moving on and not making those same mistakes as today's rec centers, that's not correct information.
No, I got to stop this. Stop. Making the same mistakes. When you plan to use a scheme illegally, and plan to do it in order to use gift cards and use some scumbag contractor, and you plan it, and you have a 12 o'clock midnight meeting and plan to do all this stuff, to get in office and do this stuff when you're in office or whatever, and then you say, after all that, you made a mistake. No, you didn't make a mistake. It was planned. I know all about the midnight meeting. I was told everything. Let me continue.
When the PAL centers closed, I opened them back as rec centers, and those officers actually went in those offices. And wait a minute. And if you don't believe it, you can talk to Senator Hayes, who was my deputy mayor.
Wait. That statement she made about Senator Hayes. Doc, would you go to Antonio Hayes to ask him about something if it's true or not?
Not knowing what I know about Antonio Hayes, I don't think I can go to Antonio Hayes even for a glass of water.
Okay, let me continue. Because we're doing a deep dive. And there's more. It gets the things that were said and done at this town hall, and I'm not talking about the folks who interrupted on a few occasions, and they got a little, that happened. Because they were upset, because they believed Sheila was lying or twisting the truth. I know Eric doesn't know what he's talking about. 585,000 people in 2022. No, in 2022, the census was let me get this correct. 569,000, little Lord Fauntleroy. Let me continue.
When it comes to holding politicians accountable, if elected as mayor, how do you plan to make sure that everyone in your administration is following correct policies?
I'm going to set standards by being that example and leading.
You mean a standard set, being an embezzler? Because that's your standard. Your standard is embezzler. So is that the standard you're going to set? You're a crook. Let me go on.
That's who you would like to ask your question to.
First of all, my name is Garner. And my question is directly to you, Ms. Dixon. Why should the city trust you? Why? Because, see, I keep hearing you apologize, but you're not saying what you're apologizing for. Okay? So why should the city elect you back into office? Because, see, my problem is, if you still want it, you'll still again. Okay? And my second question is to you, not to this panel, but you. Stop talking about holding the parents responsible. Because, see, when you take things...
Yeah, I don't agree with that. But the parents are responsible. They're the parents, so I didn't agree with that. But I did agree with his first part. Why should people bring you back in? You've proven that you're a crook. I mean, did Nixon come back? Did Nixon run again for president? I'm not a crook. There's nothing wrong, I'm not a crook. What again? Did Nixon come back? No, of course not. You forgive, he got pardoned, and he moved on. But he didn't come back and run for president again. Jeez, I gotta, because I haven't asked this, and I'm going to make a statement. Why Sheila's coming back, what's going on with her. Something's going on. Doc, why do you think Sheila Dixon, I think we talked about this before, why do you think she wants to be mayor? Honest, I mean, the real reason.
I think that without a doubt, there's a great deal of prestige being a mayor of a city as large as we are, as well known. Some of the things that we're known for aren't too positive. But I think there's a lot of prestige in being a mayor, and I think as a result of having been an elected officer, there are a lot of things I assume, I've never been an elected officer, but I assume a lot of things will come to you. You will reap a lot of things as a result of you having been a past elected officer. So I think it's a feather in your cap to be an elected officer. I had the misfortune of having a well-known, I guess, person who calls himself the man who knows politics. I had him steal my campaign sign, so I guess it is kind of rewarding if you get elected. And I guess, I can't blame her for that. And I guess, I don't know how we should say this, but I noticed she also celebrated a birthday this weekend, and of course, the mayor celebrated a birth this weekend.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to talk about that. I really didn't get into that. I mean, initially, when we found out the news, the only thing I said is, he made a baby. That's the only thing. Really? I'd like to see the DNA test. And other than that, and the fact that the woman's married, and you're, with a married woman, I kind of commented on that. We want to see the DNA test, and I pretty much left it alone, Doc. I didn't really talk about it. I didn't, you're going to announce something like that. Okay, you're an adulterer. Okay, congratulations. But when he said, when I read that on Christmas Day, he proposed, and you're going to propose on Christmas Day or whatever, but when you put it out there in an adulterous relationship, the woman's married, you're proposing to her on Christmas Day, which is Christ's birthday, Jesus' birthday. Why are you going to use Jesus' birthday, to put that out and connect your adulterous relationship with a woman you allegedly knocked up who's married. So there's a guy out there who's married, and Saran, I believe his name is Saran Pugh, and he's a realtor, I believe, and his wife allegedly gets knocked up by the mayor. The mayor is, you know, like he's at a party, hey, everything is wonderful, and the child is innocent. Don't get me wrong, the child's completely innocent. Got two bubblehead parents, allegedly, with Brandon. And when you brought in Christmas and Jesus' birthday, Brandon, no, I wasn't digging that at all. In an adulterous affair, and you're going to loop that in? No, I didn't dig that at all. Not at all. The pastors and ministers out there, you should have took this guy to task. He's the mayor of a city. He's supposed to be an example for the kids, and he's a very poor example. Oh, and one more shout out. T.J. Smith. T.J. Smith thinks it's great that one dude knocked up another dude's wife, separated or not, they're still married. So he thinks it's a great thing. So I guess that shows his moral compass. But let me move on, because we've got some more to get through. You have to hear Little Lord Fauntleroy, Eric Costello, and some of the questions that were asked. You can go on YouTube and look it up. You can look up the town hall on YouTube. But let me continue.
From these kids out here, and you shut these pools and these rec centers down, what do you think they're going to do? And then you send aggressive police officers.
Who back your position or the citizens? And the second question is, this is to
You've done.
I've been accountable for what I've done. And that I've been accountable. And this makes the parents. I'm saying that they have to be.
That's when you would like to ask your question, too.
My name is Sean Sims, and I'd like to address my first question quickly. This is Eric Costello. 58,000 citizens do not live in Baltimore City. It's 563,000. Because people are leaving Baltimore City like the Titanic, if and when you have mayoral power and authority, will you be beholden to powers?
Stop. I got to stop there. What I was saying is this, and Little Lord Fauntleroy knew what I was saying. If you have mayoral power, word got back to me, a little birdie, talked about it last week, and I'm talking from very reliable sources, plural, that there was some type of deal cut. And correct me if I'm wrong. David Smith can call me up and say, Sean, we don't have any deal with Sheila Dixon. We don't have anything going on with her. We're not promoting only her. You can tell me that, Dave, that something was set up where she would basically be a figurehead, and Little Lord Fauntleroy would be running things. He'd have the power. Correct me if I'm wrong, because that's the information getting back to me about the situation with Sheila, and why Sheila's going to the Caucasian areas, Little Italy and these other areas, and she's on the panel with, you got this one black woman and you got three white guys sitting there. She's trying to get the Caucasian vote. She wants that vote, because the black folks, you know, we know what she is, and I guess she's trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the Caucasian community, and David Smith is spearheading it. Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. Please call me and tell me that all my information was incorrect. See if he calls me. Let's go on real quick.
Or the citizens. And the second question is, this is to Sheila Dixon. Do you believe that there should be equitable town hall meetings, which should include all the other Baltimore City mayoral candidates?
So, as of last year, 2020 census numbers are 585,000 people.
No, that's a lie. It's either one or two things, Eric. It's either you're stupid, either you're an idiot, or you're a liar and you know you're lying to try to pump the numbers up of people that are living in Baltimore. Because as of 2022, it was 569,000. So I don't know why he harped and doubled down on stupid. And I guess put it out there. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about, and you do, because you're Little Lord Fauntleroy. But there are things, and there's other things that Eric said that I'm going to get into in a few minutes about what Eric Costello said. But let me go ahead and finish this, and then we'll move on to the next.
City of Baltimore. I'm running for re-election to be a city councilman in the 11th district, and that's what I'm entirely focused on.
No, it's not. Okay, now here's what's interesting. Listen to Sheila's really detailed answer, where she answers the question about the town hall meeting and the other candidates being there and her feelings on that, and she really dives deep into what she believes what should happen. And so let's listen to Sheila Dixon, Sheila the Shoe. Let's listen to her answer.
Ms. Dixon, how do you feel about a panel with other mayoral candidates?
I welcome that.
That was it. That was it. I welcome that. She said she welcomes that. You do? You welcome other candidates to be on the stage with you. This is what I predict. I predict Sheila's going to run like the coward that she is. She's talking all big and bad because the cameras are there. I believe she's going to run. She does not want to be on the stage with the other candidates because they will chew her up and they will spit her out. That's what will happen. And the same thing with Brandon too. Brandon, the same thing. I believe that these two are crud, weak candidates. Sheila's weak. Sheila's weak. And people think that Sheila's just a really smart person. I got inside information when she was the president of Baltimore City Council that she didn't know what she was doing. Oops, oopsie, ooey. From the folks that worked with her that had to give her information because she didn't know what she was doing. So this facade that she puts on, and this public relations agency, Fox 45, Sheila Dixon's public relations agency, they know that she's a weak candidate, and they're pushing her. So you know what I'm going to do, Doc? I'm going to give her a call, Wendy Bozel. Our special guest is Wendy Bozel, and she's going to tell us about her campaign. And she actually asked a question as well, and we're going to get to her question as well. So let me go ahead, Doc, and get Wendy on the phone. First, I have to pull her up. Okay, everyone. I'm pulling up Wendy Bozel. I'm getting ready to give her a call. Her first time on The Outsiders. Okay. And she's running for mayor.
Hello.
Okay, you're on Outsiders. Wendy Bozel, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks. It's fun.
I've got Doc Cheatham, my co-host. He's on the line with us as well.
Hello, Wendy. How are you, my friend?
Hi, I've been seeing you a lot on Fox. They keep on repeating you. Good job.
I've been seeing you both on Fox. What? Yeah, but Wendy, what we want to do is this, because I talked to you yesterday, and what we're going to do is I'm going to have you talk about your campaign, why you're running for mayor. We're going to go over some of the town hall where you did ask a question as well. I asked a question, a couple of those, and you asked a question as well. We're going to talk about the town hall and what happened there as well. So could you let the folks know, let our audience know, the outsiders know, why did you decide to run for mayor?
Well, the biggest reason is I'm a hospital teacher, and every day I'm faced with the violence that our kids see every day.
Mm-hmm.
And after my third student was shot and paralyzed that I had to teach at that hospital, I realized I had to do more than just teach. I had to make the city schools safer, and the city safer, as well as change the school system, because every one of my students that were paralyzed were absent 50 to 100 days. And
wow.
If someone had just been checking on this child day 4 when they should be, I don't think they would have been shot. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
And had 100 students shot this year in Baltimore City. No, time for change.
Okay, so with what's going on with the education system, there is obviously a connection between the education system and criminal activity involving the youth because of the serious truancy issue, also of reading, not being able to read. There's a correlation between the crime that is being committed by the youth and the fact of the lack of reading skills as well. Will you, and this is a question I've asked everyone who's been on my show. Bob Wallace is going to be on next week. You're on this week. I've had on Wayne Baker. I've had on Wendell Freeman. Trying to get Yolanda Pulley on as well. But another can't. Ask Sheila, of course. She because I'm not her PR person like Fox. I'm not her public relations agency. So she has not officially declined, but no answer. And Brandon as well, because I'm equal opportunity. I'll have everyone on who's running for mayor and the other candidates. But the question at hand is, in regards to the education system, with Dr., and I call her Dr. Mengele because she tortured the children with the education system. It's horrific. With Dr. Sonia Santelises, what will you be doing with her? If you were to become mayor, if you were elected mayor, what would your stance be, or what would you be doing with her?
Well, I wish it was as easy as it is that I could just get rid of her. But you have to have the school board vote on that issue. So I'm going to have to first try to work with her. And my first thing would be is to, let's work on our attendance. Let's see if we can get some truant officers back. These are things that the mayor can do.
Mm.
So I would work her with that. Then also, we have to work on centralizing the budget. Let's give the principals their jobs back. And this is something that Lisa can do. She can make our budgets to be centrally run, where you have department for English, science, and that they're the ones that you go to for what you need. Right now, as a teacher, I have to ask my principal for everything, down to computer, overhead repair, laptops, books, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she can decide whether or not I get it or not, and then there's no recourse for me. And then when I worked for Baltimore County, that's why I'm pushing so hard for it to be central. When I worked for Baltimore County, I called the laptop department and I got my laptop fixed or repaired, or I got a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I needed books, I called the literacy department. I needed something for the calculators, I called the math department. I never talked to a principal about it. The principal's main job is to meet the parents, work with the students, make sure that teachers are teaching, and the biggest thing is attendance. Make sure your kids come to school.
Yeah, that's a very important.
So we can give those jobs back to the principal instead of the budget right now is $1.4 billion. Each principal's going to be even more money now this year, like $10 to $20 million, and they're not CFOs. Come on, they maybe got some training in budgeting, but that wasn't what their 4-year degree was in, or their master's or doctorate. It was in teaching kids, and that's what they should be doing.
So you would, with Santelises, you would work with her and to improve things in the education system, the principals, I guess give the teachers, I guess, more say in what they can do. But when it comes to, let's say hypothetically, because she's been there for years, and I give her an F, big fat F.
Well, you know, she just got more money. You know,
and that's a disgrace.
She's up to $480,000.
Yeah, that's. Would you reduce her salary, or do you need the school board to reduce her salary?
I think it should be.
Okay. Now let's say hypothetically she continues at the pace, failure, that she's continuing now. How long will it be before you would have to get rid of her, or have that situation where she'd have to leave?
Well, what really you can do is you go to the school board, and the mayor does have some say on who is appointed to the school board. So hopefully we can all work together and realize that we need to have a change.
Okay, so how much time? I mean, she's been in there, and you're mayor. Let's say you're mayor. How much time would you give her?
On it day one.
Because I mean,
and then there's other simple things that we can be doing. As I said, the train officers, but also right now they're offering a trophy as an incentive to get kids to go to school. Oh, you get a trophy if you increase your attendance. What you need to do, and what I did at my school when I worked at Sinclair Lane Elementary School, you work with the community. You get the McDonald's involved, the Giant, the Dunkin' Donuts, the Little Caesars, and you get prizes and you give incentives to kids to come to school.
No, that's a good idea.
And another thing that can be done without changing the superintendent is increasing the ability or the access for kids to be able to learn a skill and maybe make some money while they come to school as an incentive.
As opposed to squeegeeing. They won't be squeegeeing making that money.
Right. They won't.
Doc, do you have any questions for Wendy?
Well, I have a question that we give to all of the candidates, and I would like to say publicly that Wendy has filled out our questionnaire that we sent to all the candidates. The only two candidates who have not responded is, of course, the mayor and Sheila Dixon.
Whoa.
So my question is, what would you do? Over 30% of citizens in Baltimore live in a food desert. What would you do to address those communities where the residents are suffering in a food desert?
I really took that question to heart when you said that for me to fill out, and I really researched it, and I'm making some phone calls now. Amazon has, in other states, has sort of like a food store where the biggest thing is crime. A lot of stores don't want to open because they're afraid of the crime in the area. So there's two things we have to address. First, we have to do it's called problem-oriented policing. And so you can address the problems so they don't become crimes, like homelessness, drug addiction, and just try to solve the crimes before they become crimes, or just to know when events and things are happening. Just like in Brooklyn, if we would have had police there when the event was happening, and then if you're doing problem-oriented policing, you're going to the community, you're talking to people, you're going to the barbershop, you're going to the community center, you're finding out what's happening. So first we have to handle crime, and then we have an easier way to get more businesses and food markets into these food deserts. But if we have a hard time doing that right away, a good fix are these Amazon food stores where when you walk in the store, you have to have like a card or like you scan to get in, and then as you pick up things, put in your card, put in your pocket, whatever, it scans it. So, and charges your card or your means that you did to get into the store. And then that way, you don't even have a checkout. So it's a way where we're kind of eliminating the crime because you can use your card. And you can use the EBT card also at these stores. So it would be a way that we create a safe environment for Amazon to come in because they don't have to worry about things being stolen.
So, Doc, what do you think of that?
I think she's looking at the issue, which is the first thing I ask all the candidates to do, including the folks that will be running for re-election, even though 90% of them should not get re-elected. But what I found to be true is none of the candidates that I know of and none of the incumbents live in a food desert.
Nope.
So, it's kind of hard to...
I do.
Where do you live?
I'm in East Baltimore. I'm like,
so what community are you in?
I'm in 13, so I'm in the borderline. I'm in Upper Fells Point, but I'm not. You're not
in the food desert. Nothing in Fells Point is a food desert. Nothing.
Fells?
None of Fells Point is in the food desert. There are four criteria to be in a food desert. It's not just because you don't have a food market, but it's also because of the amount of money that you make or don't make, the transportation that is available, or you're not having an automobile.
Okay.
See, what's going on is some people think that because they don't have a food market, okay, I don't have a food market nearby, and that meets the criteria, but there's a little bit more to it. And what's his name again? What is his name? Pumpkinhead. Oh, Antonio Hayes. Antonio Hayes, was it James Torrance as well? I believe you had to let them know about the food. I think it was James Torrance as well, because these people are elected officials. They're in office. And James Torrance, after you told him, you just let Wendy know, and Wendy's fine. Okay, she understands. She's got it. But you let James Torrance know, and didn't he challenge you that you were incorrect, Doc?
Not only did he challenge me, but I challenged him to come on a talk show that was hosted by the APRO, and for he and I to debate what a food desert is, because he was contending it was a mile away that a food market would not be near a resident. And I told him the city of Baltimore, through the health department, has identified it as a quarter of a mile. I said, so, you know, I said, let's argue on radio what a food desert is. Well, not only did he not do the radio show, you can call the APRO up and ask the APRO. The editor was supposed to be on that show with us. He did not show. So we gave him another challenge, and we give some of these candidates an opportunity to do what I challenged James Torrance to do, and that is to walk the walk from the house of anyone that's in a food desert to the food market, but more importantly, walk back with your bags of goods, because you don't have the transportation to get you back home. I said, then you know, as a result of that, what a food desert really is. It's not just you don't have a food market, but then how are you going to get back home?
Well, here's the thing I want to touch on, okay? And this is really important, because I'm going to stay on it, and I'm going to keep pounding the issues, because that's what I do. Sheila Dixon.
That's right.
Sheila Dixon.
Thank you.
Now, I know you painted, I'm talking to Doc on this one, Doc. And then, Wendy, I want to ask you something. But you painted a broad stroke in regards to the people in the city council, the people who are in elected positions, and Sheila Dixon was included. But I'm going to focus on her. Didn't you try to get Sheila Dixon to help with the food deserts to eliminate them?
Well, being that she was not only mayor, she was also president of the city council. She was also a member of the city council, which means she's been in office no less than 12 years, that we tried to approach all of the candidates that become elected officials to understand first what is a food desert, because none of them live in a food desert. So we try to educate them as to what is involved. But you know, the thing that troubles me most about, and maybe Wendy will address this issue as well, is that Sheila Dixon was the president of the council when over 100,000 black men got arrested for illegal arrest by Martin O'Malley, who was the mayor. And at that town hall meeting last week, she did not appropriately answer the question. I'm talking about Sheila Dixon. She did not appropriately answer that question when she was asked what was her role, because she was the president of the council.
Yes, exactly. She was the president of the council. And the Gun Trace Task Force, she was the president of the city council, and she was mayor as well when that was going on. So she's got a lot of dirt under her fingernails. And I'm going to ask you this, Wendy, and then we're going to listen to your question at the town hall meeting. I want to ask you this, okay, in regards to the citizens' safety. People want to not feel safe. You want to actually be safe. What would you do as mayor to improve the safety of the citizens?
I research is to see what works in other cities, and it's called problem-oriented policing. And you start by getting data together, you work with the social services in the area, and you also bring in community organizations, and you find out what is causing crime, what crimes are being committed, and then you go and you are there when these crimes happening. You ask the community, when would you like us out here? When do you want to see your presence? And then you have to also get out of the cars a little bit more. I like that I've seen a difference in the crime in my area of the city, just with having some police on bicycles driving around. That makes a difference.
Okay, that's a good answer. I agree with that. Because something should be done. Because the crime, did you know, because I'm going to ask you another question, then we're going to get to your question at that town hall meeting. Did you know that the crime rate in Baltimore City, this is from my calculation, and that's what I did for a living. I did mortgage financing and real estate and so on, and a lot of number crunching over almost 20 years. So that's, Doc's thing is names, my thing is numbers. And with the numbers, I estimated that the crime rate had gone up in Baltimore by about 13%. The crime has increased 13%. It's moved around a little bit. The number of assaults is over 13,000 assaults, which is outrageous. So the crime has gone up 13%. And the first thing that should be done, and I am going to put this to all the candidates, the first thing that should be done is that there should be honesty, transparency, and truth in the actual crime rate, and the fact that Mayor Scott, Slim Shady Brandon, he promised 15% reduction in homicide each year of his term. That would mean a 45% reduction in year 3, total, 45% total, which means that the homicide rate for this year per his campaign promise should not have been any more than 206. He's failed miserably. And I'm stressing to the other candidates, you need to point this out. If you're running for office and you're campaigning, I've been a campaign advisor, I do campaign advising, I would be strongly advising, point out that Mayor Brandon Scott has failed miserably. His campaign promise was 15% reduction in homicide each year. He's trying to make it seem as though it was only 15% total for a 4-year period. Now he's around 18 or 19. He's being deceitful, and it is up to the candidates. You're running for mayor. You guys got to play hardball here and start tightening up and hitting a little hard, because Brandon Scott is lying to the public. And you as candidates, you got the press. Not as much as Sheila, because she owns Fox. But you can still put it out that Brandon Scott, Mayor Scott, is being deceitful. That's just that's a little campaign advice from me.
I appreciate that, because it never sounds right when he gives his statistics. Because if we've had such an increase in youth violence that they've committed, like when you're talking about 11,000 cars, more now.
11,000 cars and 13,000 assaults on human beings. 13,000, not on inanimate objects, but on human beings, people. Over 13,000 assaults against citizenry. And I'm not including the murder or the homicides and so on. I'm just including all the assaults. But this is what I want to do. I want to play this. I want to get to your question at the town hall. Let me go ahead and get to your question. Let's see where it is. Cue it up.
Two great questions. You know what? All right, Sheila, calm down. All right, Sheila.
Stop. Wait. I got to replay that. Stop. That just. Let me replay
Sure.
what just happened.
No
Let's
worries.
start with the DPD question.
So, two great questions. You know what? All right, Sheila, calm down. All right, Sheila, calm down.
Okay, I've got to bring this up, Wendy, before we get to your question. Why is Sheila Dixon talking to herself with a panel of people on a stage in a church with an audience in the church, cameras on her? Why is she talking to herself in the third person, telling herself to calm down?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she did. I played it a couple of times, and you can pull it up on YouTube, the Town Hall. She tells herself, she'll calm down. She'll calm down. Why is she telling herself to calm down?
Well, you saw what happened earlier that day, right? Around 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly, Wendy, because I did mention that before I called you, before you came on, about what happened with the incident at her home, and it looked disturbing. As a woman, what did you think about what happened, that interview?
Well, I myself have been involved with violence towards myself, and I was worried about her, and she has given me her cell phone number, personal cell phone number, and I texted her right away.
Wow.
I felt odd, and she did respond later, and she just told me that it had something to do with, I guess, someone who's with her that has dementia, that needs some help. That's what she said.
Okay.
And she said she was okay, but but now that you bring up about that she's asked herself to calm down, I wonder.
See,
there's more to it than that.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm a study I study human nature. I mean, I had some psychology classes in college, behavioral classes, organizational behavior, behavioral classes, management behavior, that sort of thing. And just, being 58 years of age and being around a little bit, I'm not an old man, I'm middle-aged crazy. But I'm an older adult, and being around long enough, I'm like, wait a second. There's two incidences that happened that are troubling. It was the incident in the morning, and I did a spoof. I did a video on what happened. My wife said, put on lipstick too. Oh my goodness. Really, honey, you want me to put the lipstick on too? But I did.
I was like, I took a double take at first.
I did a spoof on it, but then someone had a concern, well, I don't think that's funny. She was being assaulted or whatever, and women get beat up and stuff, and I got a smidge of a scolding secondhand. But everyone else thought it was hilarious, but other than one person. But it's troubling. Why would you, in front of people, you can't blame that incident of saying to yourself, telling yourself, okay, Sheila, calm down. You can't blame that on another person having dementia. That's you telling yourself to calm down while you're at the town hall meeting. And it's food for thought, because I can say this much, Wendy and Doc. I've been out in public, Washington, D.C., on the water, called the Zanzibar, among other places I'm not going to mention, other incidences, where Sheila was there, I'm not even going to get into too much of it. And I thought to myself, what in the hell is she doing? You're the president of the Baltimore City Council, and you're acting like a 14-year-old schoolgirl, okay? I'm not going to get into detail. So I've seen things, and I know things. And very detailed information from people who, are very close. And I've seen things as well at Coppin State during the ball game. I'm not going to get into that. People who know me know what I'm talking about. And all of this stuff is adding up. It's adding up that, to me, there's something unstable there, okay? It's something unstable there, and I'm concerned. And I think with the things that are going to be coming out during the election, and I know about some of these things that are going to be coming out, this unstableness that's starting to happen with her, that may increase. And everyone who's a candidate who's running for office, in politics, I'll say this much. It's a rough game. It's rough. It's not nice and pretty, and it can get a little rough. And I don't know who's going to be the first one to throw the crazy towel out. Oops, did I say that? I don't know who's going to be officially throw it out. Not just kind of kidding around, but really officially throw it out. I don't know who's going to be the first to do it, but I have a feeling, an inkling that may happen. But let me get to your question, Wendy. Let me get to your question. Okay, see if I can cue it up.
Two great questions. You know what? All right, Sheila, calm down. Number one, it was working effectively, getting guns. When a new administration came on, police commissioner, and control went out, that's when it really started happening. So no, that's not acceptable. And from my perspective, you can't have rogue officers. We have to make sure they're accountable.
You when you asked your question. So please stop the outburst from the audience, or we will.
Let's take Druid Heights. It's finally going into the second, third phase. Druid Heights.
As you can hear, because I'm still trying to get Wendy's question, you can hear the craziness. I want people to hear what happened, because you can hear the craziness. Let me try to see if I can pull it up again.
So no, that's not acceptable.
What was that?
Her voice is so raspy also.
Oh yeah, Froggy from the Little Rascals. I'm like, what is going on here? This is brutal. Okay, let me see if I can cue it up.
And from my perspective, you can't have rogue officers. We have to make sure they're accountable as well as have great officers. I forgot the second question. Oh, the second question about West Baltimore. One of the challenges in West Baltimore.
1 second, please show the same respect that everyone else showed you when you asked your question. So please.
Heights, which is right by Sandtown, should have been developed. One of the things that this is intent.
Now, we are not following the law.
Okay, I found you, Wendy.
Okay.
Yeah, we just listened to Sheila, and that's what it was like the whole night. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me see if we can get right at the beginning of your question.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
Look forward to a next town hall where we can be together on that, and maybe some of the other candidates too. But a pressing issue is we have, like in our school system, we have 58% of our students who are not going to school. And Eric, is there something we can do a lot now? We are not following the laws that are on the books. And Maryland state law says after 3 days that your child is truant if you're not letting the school know. And we have kids that are not going to school 50, 100 days. They should be fined $50 a day. I don't think parents are aware of that. We need to educate parents, give them some warnings. Then the second offense, it's $100 a day. And the third time, you can face some jail time. I think that we're looking at a lot of youth violence, and one of the things is these kids aren't going to school. I see it as a hospital teacher, and I have had several of my students be shot and paralyzed, and then I pull their school records. All of them were 2 years behind, and they were missing 50 to 100 days. If someone would have been checking on this kid day 4, I believe they wouldn't have been shot. So can we do something to get the word out that we're going to follow these rules, and you got to get your kids to school, or you're going to be fined?
Yeah, I think, look, attendance is a huge issue, right? If a child is not attending school, the chances of them getting an education are next to zero.
Hello, my name is Keith Scott. I am a candidate for mayor.
Okay, that was Eric Costello about the attendance, but What do you think?
I couldn't hear most of that. I could not hear most of that.
Oh, okay. I had it up loud.
Benny,
Okay.
could you hear it?
I could hear some of it, like in the beginning, but I know exactly what I said.
Yeah.
So.
With your question, do you think that they answered your question? You know, you think it was a good answer that
No,
was
the only answer I really got was from Costello, and he was like, "Oh, we couldn't charge them $50 because they couldn't afford to pay it."
Well, Eric Costello. I mean,
that's his response was. Nothing else to the attendance other than that.
well, I'm going to go over quickly because I'm going to go over what was said. I'm not going to play all of it because I'm going to play the rest of it. I'm going to talk about what happened. I'm going to play the rest of it next week of what, and this was the exchange with Eric Costello. And I'm going to go over it. Do you remember Will Hanna got up and he asked a question concerning the BDC and $107 million, and this is what he said, $107 million is unaccounted for. $100 million sent to the BDC, Baltimore Development Corporation. $60 million slots money to Park Heights circumvents the comptroller's office and goes directly into an account at housing. When will there be an audit of BDC, Park Heights Renaissance, PDCA, and he mentioned Park Heights received money from every slot parlor in the state. And Eric Costello said that BDC has received $100 million, and his comment, BDC receiving $100 million, the comment which was made by Will Hanna, is patently false. Basically saying Will Hanna's lying. Then he didn't answer the question, when is there going to be an accounting of those funds, and how can that be done now? Costello states the PDCA state funding, that's being state funded. And then he mentioned the $100 million being received by the BDC is patently false. Here's the thing. Eric Costello did not answer Will Hanna's question. I had Will Hanna on last week. He asked about the BDC being audited in Park Heights Renaissance as well. Eric Costello did not answer that question. Eric Costello is stating that because there is a budget, the BDCA, Baltimore Development Corporation, has a budget, and that the $100 million going to them would be 12 times the budget. Eric, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? The two have nothing to do with each other. You can get money. That doesn't mean it's a part of the budget. That's what Will Hanna was trying to say. That was the point he was making. And from what we're getting, Will has documentation. And Little Lord Fauntleroy, in his answers, and what he said to Will Hanna, basically saying that Will is lying. He doesn't even know the population of the city. So what else doesn't he know? What else has he messed up? Wendy, what do you think about that exchange with Will Hanna and Eric Costello regarding tens of millions of dollars?
Well, every day there comes up with another question mark about where is the money going.
Yes.
I really think what we have to have is forensic accounting of every department in Baltimore City. Because just look at recently, grants were given to quote-unquote charities that are supposed to help the poor or the public, and they're not in good standing. So why are we giving millions of dollars to charities and nonprofits that are not in good standing? And then, I guess I'm just thinking, I researched this one today because Hannah Pugh, the fiance for Brandon Scott, she's involved with a nonprofit that's supposed to help young women, and only maybe a small percentage of the money that they received were used to help young women. And they even, a camp that they had,
wow.
they even made the parents pay $150 to send their children to that camp.
You know what? I want to
sound like a charity. And he, you know, he was his girlfriend. So I feel like at that time when she got the money, and I feel like there's too much incestuousness of money going through and not helping.
Well, this segue perfectly into what I want to talk about, just for a few minutes, and that is the Baltimore Brew. Fern Shen did an article in the Baltimore Brew having to do with gift cards. Brandon Scott this time. Brandon Scott wants people to give him gift cards. The man's making $180,000 plus a year. Okay, I guess he knows his job. He's going to lose his job, so he's figuring he's desperate. And you're looking at, here it is, the list of items at Baby List for Charm Jamie Scott.
Yes, I was reading that today too.
I have to let the people know who haven't read. Who was born last night includes $50 gift cards from Amazon, a Baby's List. So he's asking for, what's the Target? The couple says it needs, and this is in quotations, it needs. Then all that money you're getting from him, from this guy, and all the money he's making, and people got to take their hard-earned money, or you want them to take their hard-earned money and give you two chuckleheads gift cards and Target cards and Amazon cards.
There's 400 items. 400 items.
And Uber Eats. Look at this. DoorDash delivery cards. $2,500, $4,950. $50 a pop. Baby supplies, strollers, $550 and $599.
Yeah, like a stroller.
Baby Leto drawer dresser, $799. A baby travel system, $1,229.
Or they have that. You can give cash.
Or you can give them you can give Slim Shady
towards Charm's savings account.
What do you think of that? When you're running against this clown, seriously, this is the guy who's mayor of the city. He's admitting, he's celebrating that he knocked up a married man's wife, even though they were separated. And people have their opinion. People have their opinion. Some people are like, hey, live and let live, like T.J. Smith. Hey, guys, you know, your wife gets whatever. And other people kind of in the middle. Well, that's not right. They shouldn't have put it out like that. And then other people way to the right that are like, you know, man, this is just dead wrong, period, end of story. So you've got, you know, you've got a polarization on this subject matter with Brandon. I'm kind of more to the middle right. I'm not all the way to the right, but I'm not, definitely not on the left. This is not party time. This is wrong. The man's mayor of a city. Now, to add insult to injury, he's asking people to get, Wendy, this is your opponent now, one of them.
Well, thank you for giving me all this ammunition for when I speak, or I think maybe I'll start putting some of this stuff on my own website.
What do you think of this ethically and morally?
Well, I read it today. I mean, it just came out today. And I was like, Lord, especially when I saw the cash thing. I just can't believe, because what that brings into play is whenever you are making gifts of any kind, you always are looking for a favor or thinking you're going to get some kind of favor, especially for one of some of these larger items that are larger. So I feel like it's sort of like tit for tat, and I just don't think he was thinking clearly for that. Or maybe sounds like he is playing that game. You give me this and I'll give you that, from what we can see so far.
Well, he's an elected official, and he's using his position in order to gain financially, period. And he's using his child in order to make financial gains. I mean, Doc, I got to ask you this, Doc. What do you think of all this? With the money's in cash, that the mayor's asking for people, citizens, to give him cash money.
I think there is a reasonable expectation, those of us that are citizens that are hearing this for the first time within the last 24 hours. I think a reasonable request could be, could we ask not the Inspector General to rule or at least give some advice as to whether or not there's any inappropriateness in doing this. I try not to get involved in anybody's personal stuff, talk about children and whether they married or not married. But I do know that when you start dealing with requesting monetary things from citizens, I think someone other than the mayor or his attorney, I think someone other than his attorney should basically give us some advice. Is this appropriate or is it inappropriate? If it's appropriate, let's move on. If it's inappropriate, let's let the city council and the president of the council take some action on it. But I think somebody needs to give us some legal advice. How appropriate or inappropriate is the mayor requesting stuff that is asking for money?
He's asking for money, and we're talking several thousands and thousands of, you're talking about a good amount of money and putting it out there. I'm the mayor. He's using his office for people to give him money for his personal life. I mean, yeah, sure, you mean get an attorney, but I'm not an attorney, but I'm a fairly smart cookie, and that's wrong. That's right. And you know what? I'm going to call Dwight Pettit. I'm going to call my buddy Dwight Pettit and maybe have him on as well next week just for a quick segment, because I'd like to know the law. And out of the law and right and wrong, my professor, law professor at Coppin for my business law class, Professor Limas, first day of class, the law and right and wrong have nothing to do with each other. So we should look this up and see. But Wendy, I want to thank you for being on The Outsiders. Great having you on.
Well, thank you. And if I could do one little plug for myself.
Of course.
I just want everyone to know that I'm the only mayoral candidate that is not taking any donations higher than $150, and that I have been approved for the Baltimore City Fair Election Fund.
Okay.
So I just need about 400 more people to make any donation to my campaign, and then I can get the Fair Election Fund, which is about $1.7 million. And then I will owe no favors to anyone, and I can run a campaign and not have to do any tit for tat.
Where can they get in touch with you?
True public servant.
Where can they get in touch? What address do you have? Website?
Just go Wendy, 4 Baltimore.org.
Okay, the Wendy, 4 Baltimore.org for Wendy Bozel, running for mayor of Baltimore City. Wendy, thanks for being on The Outsiders, and we're definitely going to get you back, and thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
You take care.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, Doc, she was a good guest.
Very, very, very candid and straightforward. I think it's good that you are doing what I think all the radio stations should do, is to let us hear from the candidates themselves. So I commend you, and the fact that the overwhelming majority of these folks are seeing fit to answer to community presidents like myself on the questions that we have. And I hope that we don't have any candidate that has not answered our question there. And yes, there are some that are running, even for mayor, that have not given us the answers to our questionnaire.
Well, they need to give the answers to the questionnaire. Sheila and Brandon, Slim Shady and Shifty, Sheila the Shoe, they feel as though they're, above.
I think, unless my people told me something different, I think Yolanda's name is on that list as well, has not responded.
Wow. Well, Yolanda, you better get on a good foot. But this is what we're going to do. Doc, I'm going to, just a few minutes, indulge me. Just a few minutes. Now, first, I want to go over what we talked about last week, and there was a challenge. Remember, there was a challenge. There was a challenge. And regarding the presidential election, the mayoral election and the presidential election, with Joe Biden, creepy Joe Biden, sleeping creepy, falling, depends where in Joe Biden, and Trump, Mr. Orange Man, you know, Mr. Thug Life. Okay, so I looked it up. I did a little research, and it looks like we have some states in play. North Carolina, because you wanted to know, we talked about the states that Trump's going to need. Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Now here's something interesting. Trump took Michigan 2016, and he only won by 0.2 of a point. And Wisconsin 2016, he only won by 0.7 of a point. And Pennsylvania, he only won by 0.7 of a point. Now, 2020 against Biden, Biden actually won Michigan by 2.8%. 2.8%. He won Wisconsin in 2020 by 0.7 of a point. Here we go with the 7. And Pennsylvania, 2020, Biden won by 1.2%. Now, this is my theory. Trump takes Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. The reason is, in Arizona, I don't know, Georgia, because he only lost by 0.2 in 2020, and he won by 5.2. I think he takes Georgia. North Carolina as well. Arizona, I don't know. That's my theory because of the numbers and the closeness. And here's another thing. This is what I found out, folks. Just got a little bit more to outsiders. And this is what I found out. So just take a look at here, listen here, my YouTube viewers, okay, iHeart, Spotify, so on. Take a listen, just a few minutes, and this is telling the country of what's going on with black men moving away from the Democratic Party and the black vote.
These are our children, and they will not be targeted while you take and make a better life for them just walk into this country. Yesterday, $9,000 a month for these people. You know how hard it is? $1,000 to $1,500 for every child, every illegal immigrant child that goes into Chicago public schools. You give them money for uniforms and computers and all these things. We're not going to stand down, and we ask that the Republican Party come and sit down and have a meet with us. Yeah. Come have a meet with us. We all are against mass immigration. Let's have a meet. Let's have a meet with the Republican Party. If Trump want to come to town, come meet with us. Right. Have a meet with us, Trump. We are not going to stand idly by while you starve our community. Let me say this again. Our community, us as a people, period,
has increasingly lost support among black males, and now the party is a little worried that this particular demographic is not going to turn up the vote for them in the 2024 general election. So according to the Washington Post, their concern stems from 10% point decline in black voter turnout in last year's midterms compared with 2018. A bigger drop than among any other racial or ethnic group, according to a Washington Post analysis of the Census Bureau's turnout survey.
Are black voters ditching the Democratic Party? Well, this group has historically supported Democrats, showing up for Joe Biden back in 2020 in a make-or-break contest in Georgia that put him in the Oval Office, for example. Almost 4 years later, polls show that black voters are checking out, particularly black men. Now, that's all relative, of course. The overwhelming majority of black men still vote for Democrats, but a recent Reuters Ipsos poll found 18% of black Americans would pick Donald Trump over Biden in a hypothetical matchup, compared to 46% who favored Biden, which could dramatically impact the outcome of an election.
Is freaking out about losses among minority voters such as blacks. Wants a reliable base of support. That tells you everything you need to know, family, in that one sentence. Are y'all hearing me? The signs of the freak out are everywhere, it says. but especially in the desperate, wacky, and downright insulting tactics that they are currently employing to lure, nudge, and shame blacks into voting for liberal candidates.
They said that every black person in America should vote Republican for at least one election. Stephen A. Smith is joining me now. Stephen, who are you trying to send a message to? Republicans, Democrats, African Americans, all of the above?
I go with all of the above. That sounds about right, but specifically the Democratic Party from the standpoint that I definitely believe that the black vote has been taken for granted, and primarily the black community is at fault in my estimation in that regard, simply because on one hand, we're giving one party our vote because they've successfully gone about the business of convincing our community that the other party, the Republican Party, is completely against the interests of the black community. And that
Well, what's going on is that there's a turn. It's happening. The Democrats are panicking because these numbers are so tight in these states, as you pointed out, Doc. Okay, there are going to be several states at play. Those are the real. That's the real election, and the numbers are tight. Biden won on some tight numbers in 2020 for those swing states. And the black vote leaving at what, 10? No, it's actually 18% differential. That I believe is enough, and the fact that Biden is a weak candidate is going to be an issue. So you still want to keep the bet, Doc, or you want to back out?
I want to keep it because so far there's been nothing to substantiate that black men have done anything with their voter registration. The proof of the pudding, and I used to be the head of the Maryland State organization for election officials. Mm-hmm. The way you look at it is in the primary elections, we can find out very easily who has changed registration from being a black Democrat to a black Republican. There is no data to substantiate that black men have done anything. The only way you can say that they've done anything is that they changed their registration. And the answer is there is no change in registration.
Well, they're not. One report stated that even though they haven't changed the registration, and the remaining Democrats, a bulk of them, a big chunk, they're not voting. They're not going to vote for a Democrat, and that's going to hurt Biden. The fact that they're not changing, but they're not voting, even though they remain Democrat. I think
somebody did a survey. How are they going to know that a voter is not going to vote some way unless somebody did a survey? And I told you, surveys can basically tell you whatever you want to find, you can do it through a survey. It's just how you word it. So I'm keeping the bet with you. I do not see any significant change in black men doing anything so far as their registration is concerned.
Okay, we're going to end on that note. Doc and I we're going to see what happens during the election, with the presidential election. And this is the way I'm going to go out. This is a hit. This rap song, whatever, it's a Thug Life or whatever, a new day, I don't even know the name of it, but it's a rap song, and the brothers are playing it, and I'm going to go out on this. It is a Trump video. It's on YouTube. I said, what is this? But anyway, I'm going to go out you all on this song. But everyone, take care. Doc, thanks for a great show again.
My pleasure, my leader, my pleasure.
And everyone, we're going to go out on this Trump rapping.
Well, shout out to Free Dragon, Benny Johnson, Big Ponchino, Alex Jones, free my dogs and lock up the radical left gone crazy. I don't bail, I will see inside the cell. Shout out to Thugger, free my slime, slap, YSL. They try to lock me up, but I'm plugged in AGL. God always doing life in jail, they living in hell. These DAs acting silly, my mugshot is with them Billy. Songs from Merchant, made him Billy, shot me Billy out in Philly, shot the baby, shot the Sosa, Benny Butcher, them my rollers, call me racist, but these rappers riding with me, them my soldiers. Mega, I am not who they're after, I'm just in the way they want to get to you, but I won't let them cold-hearted, no I'm artist, getting back to where I started, I don't need to do the race, I'ma beat them Rico charges. And if I go to prison, you can't do me like the Clintons. I'll be laid up, eating steak with Secret Service, chillin', screaming orange man bad. The whole world mad, thug life. Shout out all of my MAGA base shots. Coming from the deep state, I will stop the new world order. But before that, I'll finish walls at the border. YSL, // shout out thugger. Pretty got nothing on us.